Hello, yes. Today we have our wonderful guest, John Gillingham, and he's the Executive Director for Lutheran School. Hello.
Hi, Charlotte. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, it's our pleasure. Tell me a little bit about you. How long have you been in Rockford and affiliated with the school?
I moved to Rockford in January of 2011 and began my tenure as the Executive Director at that time.
And tell me a little bit more. You have a family?
I have to tell you, when some of this negative press comes out about Rockford, I wonder if I might be responsible. You know, the miserable places to live. Out of the top 4, I've lived in 3 of them.
Well, have you? I don't think Rockford, they're saying Rockford is that bad.
I think they're saying it, but we don't believe it. And
Yeah.
I've certainly been very happily surprised at all of the cultural institutions in town and all the opportunities for people to grow intellectually and to think about things greater than themselves in Rockford. It's a really great community. And I know you have a background on the Park District.
Yes.
We have a tremendous Park District, and the network of parks in this town is amazing, and the opportunities they provide for kids are really great.
Yeah. So you've been interested always with the school, or tell me.
Well, I was born in a city that's experiencing quite a bit of difficulty this week, Detroit. And grew up in suburban Detroit and attended Lutheran school starting in 7th grade. And that's really where I was introduced to a new way of looking at the world. The public school I was at was great, but the Lutheran school that I traveled to exposed me to lots of different people, which was really an advantage.
Now, what is your duties?
Well, basically, I'm in charge of, I have a very responsible position. Anything that goes wrong, I'm responsible.
Well, isn't that the case?
That's the case. And I report to the board, and we have 2 campuses. We have the pre-K through 5, which is behind Edgebrook School, or Edgebrook Shopping Mall. And that's called Rockford Lutheran Academy, and they have a principal. And then the junior-senior high school on Alpine, Don Kortz has been the principal for 30 years. Both of those individuals report to me.
And so each have the grades starting from what to what?
It's pre-K through 5 at Rockford Lutheran Academy behind Edgebrook, and then it's 6 to 12 at the junior-senior on Alpine.
Do you have computers for your children?
We do, and as a matter of fact, we're starting a new initiative next year where every student has to bring an internet-ready device to school. Now, there will be a few who don't have them, and we'll provide access for them. But teachers are being encouraged to use a variety of internet-related resources to help spur the kids on to new activities.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you know, we used to teach computers, but we don't do that as much anymore. It's like teaching chalkboard.
Really?
You have a chalkboard, but you don't teach a class in it. And really, the computer is a resource for students and kids. It's like a mobile library for people. And I know we're on Comcast today, and they do a great job helping families of all economic levels get access to the internet, which is like buying a whole set of encyclopedias for your kids. I'm old enough to remember when encyclopedia salesmen used to walk the neighborhoods.
Yes, my 2 sons did that. They were always competing about each other.
And as I grew up in Detroit, there was Golden Books encyclopedia.
Yes.
They'd have a book on sale at the grocery store for a week, and you'd buy the A book one week, and next week you'd come back and buy the B book. Well, all of those things are accessible to kids right now in the phones that they use to keep in touch with their friends and to be tracked by their parents.
But now, computers, you don't have those?
We do have computers. You know, we have a number of computer labs in both of the schools.
And how young are they, the children?
Our preschool kids get computer time.
Wow.
And the kindergartners through 5th graders get computer instruction. We have a great teacher, Mindy Clark, in the preschool. And in the high school, there are a number of classes that use the computer technology for newspaper and yearbook and spreadsheets and all of the Microsoft packages.
Wonderful.
You know, in the olden days, when I first started teaching, we taught computer programming, but it seems now that every program you'll ever need has been written already.
Really?
And unless you're a specialist who works for a corporation or an individual business, you can buy software that will take care of all the needs that our kids will typically have.
There's a vocabulary that takes me back a little bit. I have to think, what do they mean? What are they saying? And because I was born when we didn't have computers, of course. And when I bought my computer, the fellow said, well, this is what you do. You turn it on here, and before I knew it, he was gone. And I'm self-taught. and there's a lot to learn, a lot.
You know, and it's a good thing, though, because in the old days when we had those encyclopedias,
Oh, yeah.
we'd grab the C and we'd be looking up corn, but we'd find things with C's on the way to the corn. And we'd find choirs, and we'd find chapels, and we'd find all different things.
Do you think, though, that, now I know my spelling has gotten very poor, and I refer to spelling and how, am I saying it right? And it's different. It's different than when I used to use the typewriter.
Absolutely. You remember correctotype?
Yes.
Yeah, we're taking a walk down memory lane here, but now, of course, we have spell check.
Yes.
And spell check, I have speakers on my computer, and when I spell some words, sometimes the computer will laugh at me.
Oh,
yeah, it'll
really?
laugh and say, what are you trying to spell?
How can I do that on my computer?
You'll have to do that. That'll be something to work on.
That's marvelous. So now tell me a little bit now. You've lived here for
3 years. This is my third summer here, and I'm still learning. One of my favorite things to do is the Convention Visitors Bureau puts out a list of all of the original Rockford restaurants in town, and there are 256. And last week I just went over 100. I visited over 100 of them during the 3 years I was here.
You actually ate out of all of them?
Yes. For the first 6 months I was here.
We're not going to give any of them a plug.
We won't? Okay.
No. But so now you're a family man?
I'm a family man. I'm married. I have 3 adult children.
Adults?
Yes.
How old?
31, 30, and 28. My daughter was 28 the day before
this taping. Well, your gray hair would only say that you're old, but you're not. But tell me a little bit about your children. Are they into education? You know, that kind of a livelihood?
My oldest son is a teacher.
Okay.
And my secondary son worked in a higher ed institution in sports management. He's a graduate from Indiana University. And my daughter has gone through the teacher training and has decided that she wants to be in retail. She could sell ice to an Eskimo. She's really good.
There are some people that have, but you're pretty good in speaking. I've heard you at Kiwanis, and do you go to other organizations and speak?
I do. I try to get out as much as I can. My major responsibility at the school is being outside and building support and partnerships for our school. It's really important. Lutheran, when I first got here, people told me with a smile on their face, the best kept secret in Rockford. I don't want it to be a secret. And of course, for our kids to get the maximum benefit of living in a city that has so many opportunities, the school has to make connections and build partnerships.
Yeah. So who are you presently seeking partnership?
Well, we're looking for all manner of people to work on projects that lift the community. 2 years ago, we won the Mayor's Award for a community project with the production of Hometown History, which was written by one of our teachers, Darcy Hill.
Tell me a little bit about that.
It's a wonderful experience. Darcy Hill writes musicals, and she'll just sit down and say, I want to write a musical about the history of Rockford, and then begin the research on that and put together about a 45-minute musical.
Do the children participate
Absolutely.
in singing? And
it's the fourth graders. We really believe at Lutheran that kids need an opportunity to be in front of people. You build your confidence by having an opportunity to express yourself.
Now, is there a fee for children going to your school?
There is tuition for our kids, and if people are interested, they can contact our school and we can give them all that information. But this fourth grade play, we put together a partnership with District 205, and we invited all of the third graders from District 205 to come to the Coronado Theater and see the performance of this play.
Wonderful.
And in the building of this partnership, we put together a number of ethnic dance groups. We had a partnership with Haskell School, and our kids did a rap that was written by Dorothy Page Turner.
Oh, yes, I know her well.
Who's a wonderful individual.
Oh, sure.
And I got an immersion into the community. We followed up on that this year with a project called Out of the Box, which during the month of May brought 32 different organizations together to put on 55 different events that focused on building creativity in children and adults.
Wonderful.
So we've had some great partnerships, and we're exploring doing some things together with Mendelssohn as they change their mission a bit and get more involved in musical education. The Rockford Youth Symphony Orchestra rehearses in our school every Sunday.
Do you have an orchestra?
We do have a wonderful orchestra, and Sheila Felder is the director of that organization.
How nice.
And last year we had 3 kids who were all state orchestra members.
wonderful.
It's great for me because I have a hard time playing the radio. I'm just not very musical at all.
Oh, well, you make me giggle. Okay, but tell me some more.
So I was raised by big union family in the suburbs of Detroit, and learned a lot about serving and being part of something by my dad's example.
Now, the school, Lutheran school, then do you believe in prayer every morning?
Yeah, our teachers are encouraged to pray with kids, and we have morning devotions, and it's a life-changing kind of experience. And we've learned that people are a little intimidated by the name Lutheran. First of all, we're not the only Lutheran school in town. There are Lutheran schools all around Rockford. McChesney Park has a school, Concordia. On the west side is St. Paul's. Alpine is on the southeast side, and Emmanuel Belvedere is in our circle, and then our elementary school. And there are 7 Lutheran preschools in town.
Okay.
So Lutheran education is a big part of the people of Rockford.
So the children are imbued with learning some religious element.
It's really interesting the way you ask that question, because the religious element, people say, well, Lutheran, you can't go there unless you're Lutheran. Well, of course, that's not true. Only about 40% of the kids at our high school are Lutheran. We have a program that brings foreign students to our school.
Tell me about that.
We're always looking for sponsors who will host a student for a year, and they treat them like their own children, and they receive a monthly stipend to support the expenses of that student. And the individual brings a lot to the families because of the experience that they have. But they're specifically looking to live with an American family.
Oh, yes.
And then many of the kids will go ahead back to their country for their official graduation or for extra schooling, but then they have a leg up on being admitted to an American university because they've gone through the system. And that's a great reward when we hear from kids who send us notes from different parts of the world.
Sure.
So it's an enjoyable thing. I think you really need to be exposed to lots of different people, lots of different cultures. And so the fact that we're Lutheran doesn't take away from the fact that we see ourselves as the other community school. Certainly 205, we want to see that school district prosper and grow and make the community stronger. But Lutheran is a place that serves the community, is connected to the community, and experiences the richness of both the challenges and the opportunities we have.
Now, what do you offer for summer? Do you have anything?
We do tons of sports camps for kids of all ages. We're very much exploring the potential of computer instruction. Internet instruction. We've added a graduation requirement. All of the kids who graduate from our high school will have taken an internet class during their 4 years.
What is that?
An internet class, there are classes for all different prices and all different interests all around the world. And so a student who is at Lutheran can be taking a class at Stanford. One of our teachers is enrolling in a world history class that's being offered by a university in Tel Aviv. And so you sit by the computer and you work through the process. And it could be a remediation if you've not done as well in a class as you wanted to, or what it's really designed to do is to open up the opportunities. We certainly can't offer all of the classes that interest our students. And so they'll come during the summer or during the school year or on their own time, and they'll take a class over the internet, and then it'll be certified that they've gathered the appropriate amount of knowledge, and that'll go on their transcripts.
How many students are always in a class that a teacher teaches?
That really varies, and it has to do with what was in the drinking water that year and how many kids are available in the community. But the elementary school class sizes are all under 20, and in the high school they range.
Well, in our next segment, we're going to talk a lot about you and the school and just about everything, and we'll be right back. And so don't go away.
I am a teenager.
I am online.
I enjoy sharing thoughts.
Music. Videos.
Ideas.
Information.
I will not
be a victim to threats.
To stalking.
To soliciting.
To predators.
I will be responsible.
I will be careful.
I will be honest.
I will be smarter. I will get my parents involved.
I will protect myself.
I will be safe.
I am a teenager.
And I
will not
be bullied.
Well, welcome, Don Gillingham, and he's the executive director for the Lutheran Church. Lutheran school, my error. Lutheran.
It's all Lutheran in the end.
Yeah, and I want to know about some of the creativities that that the children participate in the school.
Well,
what do you offer, and how do they develop these programs?
We met when I spoke at the Kiwanis Club talking about Out of the Box, which encourages creativity, and the response from the community was great to that. Edgebrook and Cherryvale got together, and when you can get Macy's and Gimbels together, that's a big thing. And they hosted a art competition for kids. And yourself being an artist, and you've had your work in juried shows, it's great for kids to have the sense that what I've done is worth other people looking at.
Yes.
And when people get the sense that there's value in the things that they're doing and the ideas that they have, they're spurred to do more of it.
Yes, and everyone has an ego, and you want to fan it.
Absolutely, because that ego drives kids to create things. There's a business in town that does mud jacking. Have you any idea what mud jacking is?
No.
Well, every once in a while they'll build a sidewalk on a weaker part of ground and it'll tilt or it'll slope. And you'll wonder, how can you ever do that? Because it's uncomfortable and the bikes can't roll over it. So someone developed a strategy that says they drill a little hole in the sidewalk and then they pump mud underneath the slab of concrete.
Okay.
And it raises the level of that piece of concrete and fixes your sidewalk.
And how does that have anything to do with the children?
Because that idea came to someone and they walked it around and said, this is a good idea. And you could imagine that spurred them to find the money to do it and find the way to do it. It's the same with kids. That ego you talked about is built up when someone says, well, David, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Where did you get that idea? How do you think we can use that idea? And when David can see his idea or his concept, as Edgebrook and Cherryvale afforded them an opportunity to draw their favorite place in town, now someone can say, why is this colored blue? Well, that's the part of the sunlight that shines in. They can discuss this idea because they want to feel accepted. They want to feel successful. They want to feel like someone cares about what I'm doing. You know, this questioning, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Why? Why?
So cute.
Why?
Children.
Yeah, it's cute for about the first 5 minutes, but it helps us to understand that kids really want to engage in conversations, and that's because they want to test their ideas. And the things we can do to help them have a format for testing their ideas encourages their creativity.
Yes. And did I ask you how many children are usually in a room?
And we talked about class sizes, and that really makes a difference every grade. We have a program at the grade school that's very intense on making kids comfortable on stage. And so junior kindergarten, first all the way through 5th grade has a presentation that they do, a play or an operetta or a song fest. Our 2nd graders at the elementary school this year did their entire program in Spanish.
Oh, how
And so,
That's
you know,
so
it's helpful
good.
for the kids to act out some of their songs so that parents know what's going on.
Well, sure.
And it's a big encouragement for kids to simply stand in front of people and perform.
Oh, yes.
And when they have the strength of doing that in a classroom setting, and all of these 4th graders who performed the hometown history 2 years ago had the sense that they were making a contribution. If you can imagine what it's like to be a 4th grader on stage at the Coronado.
Wonderful.
Where so many great performers have been and where the symphony
Wonderful.
orchestra has been. This year we were at the New Sullivan Theater with the cooperation of the Rockford
You
Public
were?
Library.
Wonderful.
And the kids performed a play about, a musical about Frank Lloyd Wright that Darcy Hill also wrote.
Now, yesterday I was at the conservatory, Nicholas.
Great place.
And some children were exhibiting their artwork. And I didn't stop to ask what school, but it was beautiful to see their rendering flowers and plants and you know, all that.
And we talked a little bit about religion. You know, the statement is that you have to come to God like a little child. Isn't it great for us to look at Rockford through the eyes of a little child? And when these two commercial strips got together to sponsor part of Out of the Box, this art competition, it was for kids from Spectrum and from 205 and anyone who wanted to participate, that gave us an opportunity to fuel our own creativity.
I'm going to ask you something personal. You know, Stay Young to 100. I didn't ask how old you are, but are you a man who exercises?
Wow, you really go right to the
Right
jugular,
to the
don't
heart,
you?
you're right.
Well, I have these three great 90-pound dogs. And
What do they do?
they insist on being walked every day.
Okay.
So I get some exercise that way. And when the spirit moves and time allows, bought a bike at a garage sale. And I get on my bike and ride for a couple of miles. I certainly don't do as much as I used to. I've started now to play church league softball.
Good.
And it's interesting because I coached for more than 32 years in high school baseball.
Okay.
And I would tell the kids, you got to be serious, this isn't church league softball. And now here I'm playing church league softball, and our team is really, really bad.
Oh, really bad?
but we
I
get
thought
our
you were going to say
exercise.
really, really good.
I wish I could, but
No,
too many
no.
people are going to see this.
Oh.
But it's great to get out and to exercise.
Yeah,
and, we have
and
to do
what
that.
about eating? Organic foods, or
I'm a really American eater.
what
you
does
know.
that mean?
That
A lot of
means-
meat and potatoes?
Well, you know, they say you are what you eat, and yesterday was National Hot Dog Day, and
Oh,
I was
wow.
very
You're one of
comfortable.
those guys.
I'm a hot dog and sausage, big
Oh.
sausage on the grill kind
Oh.
of guy. Chicken from time to time,
Yeah.
meat and potatoes.
So organic is not in.
You know, just make one minor point. Isn't it awful that to really eat well is more expensive than to eat the way I eat? And so when we're bringing up kids and we're running from one event to the next,
Oh, sure.
it's easy for us to pull through the drive-through and pick up something
yeah.
fast
Oh,
food,
yeah.
to order off the dollar menu. But when we sit down and we want a salad, or someone wants fruit, or even when you're in the market comparing organic to the farm, mega farm built,
Yeah.
it's more expensive. Why is it so expensive to have a bottle of water?
Well,
Because we'll pay for it. And that's the way
well,
that
I
goes.
wanted to ask you that. You know, Stay Young to 100 has different things in the book rather than only the program that I'm hosting, and have the pleasure of meeting wonderful people like yourself. And I ask these personal questions: exercise, well, you just now mentioned, and organic foods. And do you stay positive? Are you a positive thinking person?
What makes you think that? We have to.
Now, don't scare me.
You know, when we have kids, we really have an opportunity to be positive, because despite the many mistakes that they and we make, we see growth from that. And that's the best thing, I think, in terms of staying young, those
So-
people who are in schools.
So now, would you say, basically, that usually you are a positive thinking person?
Well, as long as you don't poll the people I work with, I would say yes, I am absolutely
Well,
a
I wouldn't
positive
dare.
person.
I wouldn't dare.
You
No.
know, one of the things I believe needs to be done is I was brought up in a different age when fast food was a thrill, and we like to do that, and meat and potatoes, and on every meal you always
yeah.
had potatoes. We've worked at our elementary school. There's a national recognition by the Lutheran Church as a center of wellness. And we've worked through that process to make
Good.
sure we have a dedicated phys ed teacher for the
Oh, good.
elementary school, and they get phys ed all the time. Recess is really important for kids,
Yes.
to keep them moving and keep
Play,
them stimulated.
yeah,
And we
play.
learn so much through play. But that also extends to the meals that we offer in the cafeteria.
Good.
Our high school, junior high building actually has a Subway right in the building. And so every day the kids have the opportunity to have a healthy alternative to some of the foods around them.
There is a tuition,
There is a tuition, and if people want to call, they can certainly do that. We can
and
give
who
them
do they
information.
call, and what is the number?
The best way to do that is to go to the website, rockfordlutheran.org. It's all one word, and it's caps don't matter, rockfordlutheran.org. Or every Tuesday, we have an open house at both of the campuses. Sue Woolbright is in charge of the
And
admissions
where
program.
are your campuses again?
The elementary school is behind Edgebrook at Gloria Day Church.
Okay.
And the junior senior, which is 6 through 12, is on 3411 North Alpine.
Good. So now we've covered about you with organic, being positive, and do you find that, I don't think so, but I'm going to ask you, do you carry resentments? Because that's part of being an all-rounded person.
You know, I've been the beneficiary of so much forgiveness in my life. I find it easy to share that when I know someone personally. It's much harder for me to let go of that resentment in the left lane of the expressway.
Wonderful.
You know, so we get
because you know resentment only eats you up.
Yeah, they say it really, not forgiving people eats at you more than it does at them.
Yeah.
Because typically, you know, as I shake my fist at the driver who cut me off, he's far down the road. He doesn't even know. So you try to do that. But that's something that I have to work on a regular basis. I grew up in a sports family, and I've had temper attacks before and made myself look foolish. And we'll try not to do that.
Would you say that you're a courageous person only? I'm not speaking of that you'll fight a war, but that you try new things.
Trying new things is everything. I don't know if the viewers will tell at some point, but just over your shoulder there's an angel. And if we listen to that angel...
You see my angel over my shoulder.
I absolutely do, and I'm sure they'll get a shot of that on the show. But as you do that, you get that angel. And in the old days, they had those angel and devil on their shoulders in the cartoons. We really need to listen to the people who are stirring us on. I think surrounding yourself with positive people, surrounding yourself with people who have an idea that they want to pursue, putting yourself in a situation that encourages the exchange of ideas and learning to evaluate ideas without necessarily having to rank and value and choose them makes it very important for us to have a perspective on the world.
I think so, and so we've covered a lot of things, and do you feel that you missed out on something? Tell me.
No, I think it's really important for people to make a positive spirit about Rockford, to think of it as a place of invitations. I was lucky enough to be involved in the Brat Days that the Alpine Kiwanis did.
Just last week.
Invited to work at the grill, as a matter of fact.
Oh, did you? And did you?
I did, and now I can flip 5 sausages at the same time. And the invitation that the Kiwanis provide to the whole community to take 15 minutes and be part of something bigger really matters.
Actually, their whole motto is helping children all over the world.
And they've invited all of Rockford to spend $5 or $6 and buy a brat and help other people to do that. You know, we have a great, and you've been involved in that, the Park District provides a great musical program at Sinisippi all during the summer. These are the things we need to take our friends to. You know, we need to pause and take a walk on the river. We need to pause and look at the conservatory from inside and out. If you go to Sinisippi, there's a great place right there by the Howard construction building where you can overlook the river and you can see the conservatory, surrounding yourself with the things that are good. And that's a biblical tenet. Whatever's excellent, think about such things. We get dragged down into thinking about the negative.
So would you say you're kind of a religious man?
You know, I have a faith that sustains me, and you know.
Do you go to church?
I do. I'm a member at St. Paul in Rockford, and you know, we have chapel at the schools, and I participate in those things. I think what's really important is for people to have a personal relationship with something bigger than themselves.
Well, it's been a pleasure. And
it's over already?
Yeah, well, isn't it bad? But it's been wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. You know, age is just a number, and agelessness a way of life. Thank you. Thank you all.